Hey guys, Instructor Pilot Chris. I have a sad one for us today. Today I'll be doing surgery on my UMX Twin Otter aircraft. During my last flight, the airplane flipped over. It was actually during water taxi, but the wind caught the wing. It went inverted. The motors got wet. The elevator stopped working. So I waited about 3 days. I eventually had the motors return to full operation normally. Ailerons were unaffected, but my elevator never came back. It was dead. I rebound it. I tried to get my finger up inside the fuselage. I did everything I could think of unsuccessfully. So I came to the conclusion that one of two things occurred. One, water somehow did get inside the fuselage and potentially ruined the servo. Other potential item, when I was rebinding, I was checking servos and throws. I saw that my elevator servo throw was much higher than 100%. So I was thinking that maybe somehow it overextended and got stuck, which that might be a possibility. Again, I tried everything I could digitally. I did the rebinding, I changed the servo settings, everything I could think of unsuccessfully. And then I ultimately decided to, probably a poor choice looking back at it, I thought I would try to assist the servo by very carefully pulling on the push rod. And all I did was remove the servo from the inside of the fuselage, and so now you can see that there's actual movement here because the servo is sliding inside the fuselage. So I'm at the point now where I'm convinced the only way to address this is by getting inside that fuselage. So I'll go ahead and just show you that everything else is working here. It's already bound. Ailerons are good. Power plant is good. Nothing on the elevator. Dead. So I went online, I went on Reddit, I went on YouTube, different ideas. Some people said, cut the fuselage, make a hole. Some people said remove the wing. These are great aircraft, but for servicing them, they're horrible. And I hate to do this, but I feel like I kind of ran out of options. So what we're going to do today is cut the wing off. We'll just kind of go along and see how this works. And my goal is to try to do minimal damage so that I can use 5-minute epoxy and hopefully fix the servo. I may have to order a new elevator servo. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure that out. But eventually put this thing all back together with 5-minute epoxy. So again, try to do minimal damage. Now, obviously I have a steak knife, not ideal. Maybe an X-Acto number 11 would be better. I couldn't find it. I do, however, have a box cutter. At the end of the day, this thing's not a hanger queen anymore. It's had a ton of flights. It's a lot of fun. So the primary objective is to get this thing flying. I'm not looking to make this thing hideous, but at the same point, I just want to have fun with it and fly it again. So we'll go ahead and we'll remove the wing. I think we'll start by carefully removing these struts. And no matter how you look at this, I'm breaking this plane right now, which for me is very frustrating. If this was like a 40 size ARF or something, you would just put your hand inside the fuselage and fix what was broken. I can't remember a time where I've ever had to break a plane in order to fix it, meaning I'm going to make this much worse. I just don't know how bad it's going to be with my repair. But we're going to take these off first, so I'm just going to apply pressure and see if I can get these things off. Really on there. Whole fuselage is flexing. Try the other one. Okay. All right, so let's see. I pulled on it and that kind of just removed it, and there's no sense in breaking both sides, so I'll try to do the same on the other side, and that way, again, less to fix later, hopefully. So I guess the secret might be just to pull outward with a little bit of a wiggle. Okay, that did it. I broke that one out too. That wasn't so bad. Not bad. Okay, here's the part that I'm not excited about. So I'm gonna try cutting the wing, and the risk is, I know it's very hard to see. It's hard to see on the camera. It's just as hard for me. You can't really see in there. I can barely get my finger in there, but there's a receiver tray and all the wires and whatnot. They're inverted, mounted to the bottom of the wing is what it appears like. Having said all that, there are wires somewhere in here, so I'm going to carefully cut along, and I'm hoping that this is like a rubber cement versus an epoxy, but hopefully I don't catch any of the wires for the servos or for the electric motors, which presumably, well, I'll tell you right now, they're probably under this tape. So that's probably an indication of where servo wire and motor wire are. I would assume right here, but regardless, be super careful if you're doing this. We'll find out how this goes. And if I do screw it up, then you can learn from my mistake. Do this with an X-Acto blade, don't do it with a box cutter. Okay, it's cutting like butter, which tells me that it could be like a rubber cement situation, not an epoxy. Epoxy is typically a much harder material. I hate that I'm having to do this. It's the silliest thing that I mean, even if I did this appropriately with an X-Acto, you're still damaging your aircraft. I just hate that there's no way that at least I could think of to fix this without taking a knife to it. Like I said, it took a couple days just to get the motor to work. So when I first powered on, it was a day later. Big red light came on inside, and this would kind of twitch like this. So it definitely got wet. And you know, on day one, I figured this whole thing was trash. And then when the motor came back, I got excited. And then I realized at the moment we're just trying to fix the elevator. Okay. Now from what I was, and obviously you don't want to cut through and cut your hand on the other side. So what I was reading online was people were saying if you can kind of separate the glue, which is what I'm trying to do carefully now without totally destroying the model. If you can kind of separate the glue, you can maybe kind of wiggle the actual wing off of the fuselage. I'm going to remain hopeful. You can see there is glue right there. I'm going to cut towards myself, not recommend. Well, I'll just be careful. I don't want to cut the wires. That's what I'm trying not to do. Okay, that glue is soft, so that's telling me that that is some kind of a rubber cement or something similar. Man, I hate doing this. And that thing is really on there. Now, the risk you have is snapping this wing in half. That's my trying to see how much I can flex it without totally. You know, it's kind of overkill the way that they designed this thing. And maybe you don't have this aircraft, maybe you have a different one, but this gives you an idea of what's in store for you if one of your servos fails that's inside the fuselage. Maybe you're just curious what it looks like and you see the thumbnail of some guy with a steak knife cutting his airplane up. Really don't like cutting towards myself. Trying just to put the knife in and kind of wiggle it so it's isolated. I'm not sawing really outside of that area, so I'm kind of trying to control where I'm cutting, hopefully. Okay, it looks like the back side of the wings, looks like that's separated. Okay. I'm gonna try wiggling it a little bit more, see if I'm making any progress here. And I feel like I'm gonna snap this wing right in half. And of course there's wires like right underneath that, so you really don't want to be shooting past too deep. I really don't know how you're supposed to get in there to cut any glue. So the good news is I didn't cut the ailerons and the lights are still working, but still no elevator. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna play with this for a little bit longer, but I think that servo is done for, and you know, hopefully, if anything, this will show you what does the inside of this fuselage look like. You know, I'm kind of at a loss here what I'm gonna do to move forward. It's probably, you know, in the ballpark of 20-25 bucks to get a new servo. Airframe clearly looks horrible, so I mean I could glue this back together, but I'm gonna have to look at the price point and say, is it better to get a new one and then save the remaining items for parts, or perhaps make my own version of some kind of aircraft with the parts. This aircraft is 1 year old. You know, I could spend all this time repairing this thing and then something else could fail on it. So I'm gonna have to do that analysis to see what's the smart play here. But for now, hopefully, if anything, just showing you what does the inside of this fuselage look like. Maybe that'll give you some insight should you have to do some kind of a repair for your own UMX aircraft. Perhaps, you know, maybe you have an Otter as well. Let me know if you have any questions, but hopefully the video is capturing what this thing looks like, and you can see there's glue beaded all over both sides of the wing there. So I don't know how you can do a better job with wing removal. Like I said, some friends had mentioned maybe cutting the fuselage. Maybe that's another option, but again, that doesn't really give you much room to get in there to actually fix anything. So I'm a little sad. I love this airplane, but sometimes, you know, tough decisions have to be made, right or wrong. You have to do something. So I'll try to work on this. Ultimately, I'll let you know what I decide to do, whether I decide to try to fix the servo and repair this thing, or use it for spare parts or whatever. But hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you wanted to see what the inside of this fuselage looked like. I certainly achieved that. You can see what it looks like. There it is. So after I powered off the camera, I continued to work on this, and I just wanted to give an update here. I was able to fully remove the wing from the fuselage, made that a little bit easier to work on. What I also did is, this is the elevator servo. I took this and unplugged it, and I put the aileron servo into the elevator, and that aileron worked. So that tells me that the receiver itself is fine. I think I isolated the problem to the servo. So, you know, I caused substantial damage. I think no matter what, there are better ways maybe to do this. I think no matter what, you would have caused a lot of damage trying to get to the inside of this fuselage to access a servo that has died. So, you know, I do have a lot of flights on this aircraft, but it's very unfortunate that because of a component failure, that's how this all occurred in front of you. But again, for a learning experience, in case you want to see what the inside of this looks like, it's kind of interesting that everything is really mounted to the bottom of the wing. You have the receiver and the servos and the power units, but everything's entirely mounted here. And this is more or less just a shell that everything plugs into. So I thought that was an interesting design. My only criticism is that there's really no way to get a hold of a replacement of a servo without destroying the aircraft. At least not that I could do anyways. So again, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully maybe just seeing this, learning the placement of where the wires are and whatnot, hopefully that benefited you in some way. And I'll have to be giving some thought on what to do next. I'm not sure I want to rebuild this thing. It's never going to look pretty. I might use this for parts, but unfortunately I will not have any more pool flying for a little bit. Not with this aircraft anyway. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.